Welcome to Big Ideas Podcast, the podcast where three co hosts rotate roles to explore real conversations, meaningful ideas, and the decisions that shape our lives. I am Mark Steiner. I'm a father, an entrepreneur, a creator. I'm co founder and CEO of Gig Salad. And I'm joined by Jessica Broadway. Jessica is a coach, speaker, an author who works with leaders, entrepreneurs, and individuals navigating seasons of change. Also, here is Justin Gabossi. Justin is a human optimization coach, a professional touring musician, and he's currently traveling the world studying how health, culture, and human connection intersect across different societies. This week, this episode this is episode 14, by the way. I just want to throw that in there.
Mm-hmm.
Excited about that. This week, Jessica and I will be leading the conversation as co hosts, and Justin will be in the hot seat. Justin.
Whew.
But first, we have a little tradition here. We'd like to, because we're in all different walks of life and different places in the world often, we'd like to do a little POV for you. Jessica, tell us, what's your POV?
Spring break. Man, it's changed over the years. In my home studio with a little recording sign marking "Do not enter" on my door out there because spring break is underway in this house. So
Okay.
Mhm.
Okay.
Three kids.
Justin?
Well, one of them's away, but yeah, having fun.
That's great.
Oof.
Beautiful POV.
Yeah.
Justin, how about you?
I am currently in Thailand. Been here a couple different places for the last month and a half or so, actually going on 2 months. So I'm gallivanting around Thailand right now.
Wow, man. That's cool.
Yeah.
Well, I am in Austin, Texas. Awesome Austin, where we like to keep it weird. And I'm here for South by Southwest. It's wrapping up. Today's the last day. I'm going to remain 2 more days doing my own gallivanting around with some friends that are coming into town to meet up with me, and we're going to explore together. I'm in my hotel room, and I did not put up a do not disturb sign.
Oh no.
I could either take a quick break and put up do not disturb or wait for the door to knock and say, I don't need to be clean today. Something along those lines. One way or the other. We're going to ring it. Let's see how this goes. So the topic today is getting to know the real Justin Gabossi. We've been interviewing each other. If you've been following along, and I hope you have been, this is Justin's turn to tell us about himself. Justin, the man, the myth, the legend. We want you, the listeners, to get to know Justin the way we do, or at least we think we do. Right, Jessica? Maybe we're going to learn some stuff today.
I'm hoping we learn some stuff today.
Oh, me too. Yeah. I hope by the end of it we laughed, we cried, we learned. Maybe. Let's do a Babat. Let's do a Barbara Walters on this guy.
Oh
We're gonna
man.
dig so deep. His inners are gonna be like just mashed potatoes when we're done. All right. Jessica, why don't you stop me and lead the way here? Why don't you
Hey, you know what? I was like, mashed potatoes. Ooh, I should make mashed potatoes for dinner tonight.
Sorry.
Hey, you know what? Listen, I've got a new invention. When you come back, I'll make it for you. But mashed potatoes with curry on top.
Dang.
Oh,
very
yes.
One day I was just like, we're gonna have mashed potatoes with our curry, and it was delicious instead of rice. So it was really good.
Oh man.
You know, I've been eating a lot of curry, so I'll be curious to see how this goes. Yeah.
There's a lot of that in Thailand, huh?
Mm-hmm.
Yes, there is. It's delicious. The food's amazing.
Well, I've had the benefit of knowing you for a long time, and we've had many seasons. I think we're going on 15 years now, at least, that we've known each other in different capacities. And so, and I know we've talked a little bit about what kind of motivated you to go into the field you're in through our Origins episode. So if our listeners wanted to learn more about you, that was a great episode where we learned about your love of weights and things. And we may get back into kind of why you got started in this a little bit later in the episode. But I'm super curious because you've been in Thailand now for 5 weeks, right? Something like that.
Actually, almost 8.
Okay,
Almost
well,
8 weeks.
I'm a few weeks behind then. Yeah.
All right.
But
Yeah.
I've noticed that you've talked a lot about like being really 40 steps from the beach. You know, you're really close to the beach. The people are lovely. Walk us through. I would love to know what a day-to-day is like on the road, trying to kind of navigate a new culture with people. You are on this journey to study human connection. What has been the biggest impact in Thailand since you've been there, kind of the most amount of time to get an assessment of, or I would presume to kind of study the people and get some consistency where you can recognize patterns? Like walk us down that journey of being in one place for a little bit longer than the other places you've been, and what are you seeing, and share with us.
Yeah, I've kind of made it a point to each place I go to study ahead of time, like on basic language. And it's, vocal tone is such an interesting thing. And especially I've been meeting people from so many different countries, and some of the vocal tone is really direct. And some of it is sort of like a sing song, and some of it's like aggressive, and some of it's mellow. And I'm kind of used to how we talk to each other in the US. And so one very interesting thing here in Thailand is that the people are really friendly. They smile. What's really nice is they smile so much. I mean, that's one thing I'd heard about the place, but like really it's always a smile, it's a bow. And so in order to sort of get more into that and help to understand them better, I learned like key phrases, and they really appreciate that I'm making an effort. And that allows you to sort of get into the group a little bit better, because the language is, it's kind of aggressive, but it's also kind of sing-songy. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Like for example, if you walk into a place and you say hello, it's Sawadee krap, and so there's like a little bit of a sing, and so sometimes they'll even be like Sawadee krap, and like the girls kind of say it different, but some of the stuff is a little more pointed, and so you're always like, did I do something wrong? Is everything cool? And so sometimes I'll use ChatGPT and be like, hey, could you really make sure I get this point across okay? And sometimes I'll have them read that. But that's the biggest thing I've found to be very interesting in Thailand, and really also compared to Morocco and Spain and China, is just that vocal tone thing can really throw you off, So you have to be.
And so I want to dive a little bit deeper into that relational thing. Like you said, going out and talking to people. What's been like the most impactful human connection moment you've had in Thailand?
Wow. One of the most interesting things that's happened to me is it was my first night here, and I had a really rough trek from point A to point B. And I checked into this first Airbnb that I found, and it was on the busiest part of the island that I'm on now. And I was like, I can't do podcasts here. I can't work here. I can't sleep here. I was frazzled. It's a whole thing I'll post about at some point, but the taxi turned into a nightmare. I ended up walking like a half hour with all my gear, and it's hot here. And I was spent. And so I rolled up to this Thai restaurant, and it was packed, and I was in line, and there was no place to sit, and there's people in front of me, and these two people, a girl from Greece and a guy from Germany, turned around. They had just met a couple days prior, and they said, hey, we're ahead of you. If we get a table, you're welcome to sit with us. And those people became friends, probably lifelong friends.
Mm-hmm.
And that has just been, that's happened several times like that, and it's still mind-boggling to me. I came here to find human connection and reconnection, and boy, have I found it,
Sounds like they're really like, maybe the nomads look out for the nomads, like you're recognizable. And so it's like, I see you, like this guy's new to the area. Let's let's get him in the fold. Yeah.
Exactly. And then they'd already been there longer than me. And so they knew what to order. And next thing you know, we're like family style sharing food. And it was just such a breath of fresh air. And because I really had a sort of a bad attitude, I was like, man, I'm so tired and I'm so beat and I'm not going to get sleep tonight. And we had to record a podcast in like a day or two. So I had to find another place, like lickety split, And that moment was a moment of I could take a breath, and I was with people I felt safe and I felt seen, and it was really impactful. So thank you, Anastasia, and thank you, Kiran. So
Are they still around? Are they still there?
they aren't. Kiran actually traveled I think he's headed to Brazil. And Anastasia just went to Bangkok, and she's headed back. I think she's headed to France, and then eventually back to Greece.
Wow.
So, but we got to spend about a month all of us together. We kind of cultivated a little friend group, and people from Israel and London and all kinds of places.
France and other people from Germany you've told us about. But so, well, in this in this time in your life, what has it been like since then in meeting people? Any other significant experiences that touched you in the same way that did? Because it sounded like you needed to be, it was a nice welcome to be tired and show up in a strange place, and to have strange people that weren't even from that place be the ones that reached out to you and said, you're welcome here, join us at this table.
This has happened a surprising amount, a refreshing amount, in spite of the language barriers and the cultural differences. There have been so many times that people have welcomed me into their homes or into their group. And and especially amongst the community of people that are traveling, they understand the challenges. And so there's such a support system. And so there's lots of instances, people I met in Spain and Sweden, and getting introduced to people's families, and welcome into like family home dinners. And it's just, I feel super blessed.
There's a pressing question that's off script here. So I didn't plan on asking it, but as you're talking and I'm hearing and I'm seeing on your face just the relief, and like almost like you're walking back to that moment where somebody saw you and they connected to you when they could have rejected you, and that bonding in the time of vulnerability. How do you say goodbye to those people?
Yeah, it's I had I think where to kick this thing off is to explain the what I've actually decided to do here and when it really hits home. So this last week, I've cultivated these relationships over the last, let's say month and a half. And I'm blessed to kind of do this in each place. And so what I'm about to tell you has happened to me a few times. And the reality of the life I'm living hits pretty hard. And so several people left the island and from the friend group. And so you go from being alone, right? And then you show up and you, as luck would have it, you make these relationships. So I had this last weekend had said goodbye to several people that had become friends. And where this is challenging is that I don't have friends and family here, right? I'm a family guy. I'm Italian, like we hug and kiss and super close to my family back home and my friends back home. And, I tell my friends and family I love them. And so it's a lonely, it can be lonely, right? And there's tons of silver lining and blessings, but the relationships are transient, you know what I mean? And so you get close, but there's an end date as well, which also makes you kind of appreciate the moment even more and kind of stay in the moment. But it was late at night. It was 2 a.m. We'd been out, we'd celebrated, and 2 a.m. here right now is like 2 p.m. there. People are at work or whatever they're going to do. And so what happens in these moments is I realize that I'm alone. I don't have a home per se of my own. I sold everything. I don't have a home. I don't have a car. Yeah, I have people I can live with. You know, I could crash with my brother, crash with my mom when I'm back. But I left everything behind on purpose to do this, right? And I was a little tipsy, and I was just having like one of those moments. I'm like, geez, Justin, you left your whole life behind. The people that you met here are gone. You don't really have anything to go back to. What you can't really call anyone right now because everybody's busy. So I was totally alone, and then I start, telling myself, "Gosh, don't be like that. There's so many blessings, and there is so many unbelievable blessings." And I'm like, "Come on, bro, this is so great." But at the end of the day, the lack of like physical connection and long term connection, and it hits real hard because everything I'm doing is up to me. I'm building this podcast with you guys. I'm building businesses from the road. I'm cultivating relationships, but there's no safety net. There's nobody to go home to and like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So how do you deal with that?
Yeah.
I just think about, how grateful I am for this journey and all the blessings. I mean, it's unbelievable. Like I did this to myself on purpose, and I'm really happy that I did. There's no regrets. But I just get in a state of gratitude, and I start to count all the blessings and like all the wonderful relationships that I have cultivated and that I have back home, and the people that I will see back home. And so you just kind of like pull yourself up by your bootstraps, and then I get some sleep, and then the next day I lean into my tools, that I teach, and that's basic stuff. It's food, water, it's go to the gym, get some movement, get some exercise, make sure I get my head right. Don't make any stupid decisions that are going to put me in a worse place. Don't go out and get drunk or something and feel even worse later.
That's a good point.
Yeah.
What specifically is bringing the emotion that it is bringing to you? Why are you
Right now?
Yeah.
It's the real
moment. Was there a specific moment that something happened?
Yeah. I've been single for a while, and I met a girl. It didn't like get it didn't get too intimate, like you know what I mean. But there was a strong connection, and I think you get excited about stuff like that, especially after it's been a long time, and I think coupled with the excitement, the dopamine, the oxytocin, all that stuff, and then you couple that with all the other familiarity, all the other familiar things, and all of a sudden everything gets real quiet, and you're alone with nothing but your own thoughts and your own emotions, and then realizing, again, not to be repetitive, but I don't really have a place to go back to right now. Technically. Mm-hmm. That I own, right? I mean, I did that to myself, and that's fine. But the reality is still, there's no one to lean on but me, And of course, I have a relationship with my creator, and that's paramount. But
what happened with the girl, though? I'm not hearing.
Spill the tea. Come on.
Yeah, she just we spent some time together, and then we were supposed to spend a little more time together, and she ghosted.
How did that feel?
Which is like shit. Yeah.
There we go.
Yeah.
What do you do when, we all have our practices of like realigning. For me, I have to somewhat identify how I'm feeling, and then I have to separate what's mine, what's theirs, and not take an over sense of responsibility and allow their rejection to be personal per se, but that's really hard to do. It's easier to just think it's all your fault and then become hyper vigilant and block everybody out. That's like the easy way out, but it takes a lot of work to kind of dig deep and separate those two. Have you found anything like, I mean, I'm sure that, don't take this the wrong way. I'm sure that you're experiencing lots of moments of rejection. And I don't mean like just romantic, but that every time you try to communicate and you're misunderstood, you know, every time you try to connect with somebody, but you know that there's like that throttle there of how much will I connect? Because at some point they're going to leave, and your body doesn't recognize that as a transient, they're just moving on. It registers it as another layer of rejection, right? Because you're separated from the person. So how are you managing that? I know a lot of our listeners, or if you haven't experienced rejection, call me up. I want to know how you avoided that your whole life. But I don't think everybody knows what that feels like. And I think this is really important to talk about, what you're actually, you're not theoretically talking about dealing with rejection. You're literally navigating it on such a macro and a micro level every single day.
Yeah, let me explain it like this. What I'm told does not match up with the reality, because when I'm out here living life, and you guys know I'm not braggadocious, and I don't have what I'm about to say, I don't have this opinion of myself, but since I've been traveling, people will pull me aside. Hey, you look like that actor, that American actor, Tom Cruise or whatever. And I've had people stop me and take photos, right? And I've had men and women that I've met that are friends. And hey, man, you keep in shape, and you look good, and you're an attractive guy, and you're charismatic, and got a lot of things going. And but the thing I've been laughing about is that doesn't translate to real life, because I'm just telling you, it has not translated to real life. Because I'll just going to go for it here, but like in Morocco, and let's just talk about romance for a minute. In Morocco, okay, they're speaking French and Arabic. Okay, in Spain, I don't know. In Spain, I was invisible, and in Thailand, often I'm invisible. And then you meet a girl, and and then you get ghosted. And so they're like, "What happened? What's wrong with you?" I'm like, "I don't know what's wrong with me. Like, it's your ego and your self perception is always under siege. How does a stranger look at me? How's the vocal tone? And my body's constantly registering. Are we connected? Am I not connected? Am I offending someone? You go back and look in the mirror and you're like, dude, what is going on, bro? On paper, it seems like I'm doing everything right, but it's not translating to real life.
Yeah.
And this ghosting thing people do is garbage. And we're going to do a podcast on this, and we're going to go deep on this, because it is not how you treat people. So I don't know if that answers the question. But
Wow. Do you want to call this person out? Do you want to name them? Do you want to give them a name?
No. Because there's a lot of, there's a whole lot of, there's a whole lot of things. There's a lot of variables at play. There's what's going on in their life. There's cultural differences. There's, in this particular case, there's language differences. There's a multitude of things, that all of us are dealing with on our own, right?
Right.
But at that moment at 2 a.m. when I was going through all this and I didn't have anybody to call or a psychologist, you listen to music, you refer to ChatGPT, whatever kind of information you can, get to, and until, the next day, and then you can speak to somebody. But it is a hell of a thing, I'm telling you.
Yeah, well, I was joking about calling her out, but because you've taken something personal. All that's happened, all that is you haven't gotten a response, you haven't gotten a reply. You have no idea where she's at, what's going on. There's very possibly a whole nother story, right? I mean, who knows? Let's hope that she's safe. Let's hope that she's good. Let's hope that this person's, did she have did she have to go back home? Whatever it was, we don't know. And we do take things so personally, and we don't know the whole story. So
Yeah, ironically, before I left the States, I reread this book, The Four Agreements, and
Oh
one
yeah.
of the agreements is don't think things personally. And you're like, yep. Oh, okay, that sounds great. But then I'm having to really put that stuff in practice because you can't put it in you can't take things personal. But like Jessica said, when it happens day in and day out, for going on 6 months, and I mean this situation with this girl is a specific situation, right? Um, but yeah, it's trying. You know what I mean?
Sure.
I'm fresh off of teaching a workshop, so this stuff is right on the tip of my tongue. But as I'm hearing you talk, and then Mark, what you just said is you don't know. There's like these two circles is something I try to do when I'm feeling overwhelmed or like there's lots of emotion and I'm not sure, like to help me sort things out. So I make one circle with an F in it. That's the facts of what happened. And then the story that I wrote about what happened for them and for me. And usually it's connected to a thread of how I see myself and what I see possible for me and what I see possible for other people. It doesn't make it go away or stop you from doing it, but it does help you understand it. And when you're talking, because I love you, I can say this. When you were talking and my kid's voice popped in my head and said, "You're trying too hard, bro." And I was like, do you feel like there's part of you that's trying too hard to get it all right? That somehow aura is coming off of like super intense and they don't want to mess with that, or what?
Probably. I mean, like that is the biggest lesson of this whole thing is I have built these systems to my life out of physical and emotional survival, and these I try to optimize everything, and my nervous system is already kind of on high alert each step of the play because I'm just in unfamiliar territory, right?
Yeah.
And so the guy that's laid back home in my environment that's a little I don't even know if I'm like that, but like whatever. Yeah, I mean, probably. And so like I'm working on that. You know what I mean? I think that I'm coming across chill and like my relaxed self, but I have no idea because I don't have the footing that I usually have.
Yeah. Well,
Mm.
this is probably a nice transition uh, to say you mentioned these outwardly things that you get recognized for, acknowledged for. You look like Tom Cruise, or you know, you're you're good looking, you're built. You know, the things that are often you're known for, Justin, are the outwards, your gifts, your talents. You're a musician. You're a really talented drummer. You've been in a really popular band. You got a lot of recognition for that. You as a wellness coach, you've had to put yourself out there as a model, and literally as a model. But you know that you've got it together. That you're
Mhm.
mentally, emotionally, physically put together. You have your famous ABSR. You've always be show ready, right? There's
Yeah.
that Justin Gabossi, and you're an entrepreneur, the acting. But when you show up in a foreign land, nobody knows all
Mhm.
that stuff, right? So how are they going to get to know you? Well, what's the internal Justin Gabassi? Who's inside there? We're trying to crack open the shell a little bit. Who is it that you want? What would you say to this? Why don't you talk to that girl right now? Tell her what she doesn't know. Tell her what she's ghosting. What is she
Who
missing
are
out on?
you
Yeah, who are you?
without all your stuff?
Yeah.
uh, I am a guy that has been through a lot of significant challenges, like so many of us. And I work to build myself up in a way that makes me fully accountable for my actions and for my mental, emotional, and physical state. And it is a relentless grind. Like I just don't want regrets. I don't want excuses. And like these things started, I guess, out of necessity when I was younger. And now I guess ultimately, like if I get to the end of my life, and of course things are going to keep happening and challenges are going to keep popping up, but I want to be able to say, you can have bad stuff happen and you can succeed in spite of it, and you can still love life and people and enjoy things without regrets. I see people playing the victim card a lot, and I hope the listeners don't think, oh well, I'm like waning on and like sad and stuff, and I'm not at all. It's just that when I was younger and throughout my life, I've seen people excuse their actions because this happened to me, and so this is how I respond to life, or this happened to me, so this is how I react, and which is perpetuating hurt or whatever. And what I'm trying to do is be like, yeah, man, bad stuff happens and it sucks, but maybe there's a way to overcome it and still be happy, and still like not only be happy but thrive. Not only survive but thrive. And that's my jam. I mean, that's my goal. Is when this stuff happens, it's like rough, and then I put my tools into place, and I'm like, dude, what do we learn from this? And can we not go in reverse, but maybe forward?
Go ahead, Jessica. You're gonna...
There's so much to unpack in that little piece of what you shared.
You didn't share.
One question is that working for you?
I'm getting my, I know we're trying to cuss on this podcast. I'm getting my butt handed to me.
And then 2, have you, like, how do I want to say this? The vulnerability of saying, like, I understand that I am someone who has also experienced a lot of life, and some things chosen, some things not chosen, some things are chosen kind of for me based on choices I made that had consequences. Okay. Like those are the realities of it. But there's a certain level of having to decide, who are you, even when the world doesn't play by the rules you set for it or the expectations. So like nuts and bolts, to put it like you say, drill down on it. What is the tool that what do you tell yourself that says like, and this is the choice we make anyway. So life is going on, it disrupts me, and this is what I choose despite everything else. Like, what is the choice that you're making every day that makes the difference for you, that stacked up over time, you look back and you're like, damn, I'm glad I made that choice every day?
It's all the little micro steps that I do every day, that I teach. It's like a tangible things that I can put my energy on. And so, I woke up after that night, right? And I'm in my feels, and I'm like, I'm supposed to post, on social media and tell people what I'm doing. We have work to do on the podcast. I have coaching clients that I want to bring 110% to, and I am mentally and emotionally jacked up. I don't want to do any of it. I want to lay around all day, but then I'm like, okay, I'm in an amazing place, a huge blessing that I made it here. And so the first thing I do, and this goes back to my optimization, but if I just can't get out of my own mental and emotional funk, then I make sure I'm hydrated. I go eat food. I take my butt to the gym. And then I just start grinding on stuff. Like I start checking off the list of things that I know are going to move me forward. Mm-hmm. And that's the things I'm cultivating in my life that bring value, like this thing with you guys. And I check in with my friends and family, and I was thinking about that today. It's like, I wasn't feeling the gym today. And I still in a bit of a funk because this has only been a couple days ago. You know what I mean? And so, but I was like, no, the three of us had a big meeting before this. We have this podcast to do. I'm like, no, I'm not doing that. I'm not going out like that. So I don't know if that answers the question, but I just dig into stuff that I can actually tangibly put my hands on and succeed at.
Can I give an alternative, an option and how you might do it?
Sure.
Um, so you talked about when you woke up this morning, you woke up that morning and you had all the feels, and yet you knew that you had a responsibility. Is it possible you could do both? Can you have all the feels and then feel that into your responsibility and put that vulnerability out there? Because as a coach, I think too often coaches feel like they have always got to be on and they always have to show what the end result is, as opposed to showing what the work is, what
Mm.
what the process is. Like,
Yes.
it's not possible that every morning somebody wants to get up and work out. It's just not. It's not human. And if you put a little more, humanize yourself and humanize you as a coach, and humanize and see those you're coaching, and in this case those who are listening. um, tell your truth. Like say, I had a really rough night last night, and I'm here to promote the podcast Big Ideas. Out. I'm feeling sad today. Watch me on my podcast and hear why. Or or this morning when you didn't want to work out, and you instead say, you know what, I don't want to F and work out every day, but if I want to keep this physique going, I'm going to work through it and
Maybe it's
and
just
watch our podcast, and so that's when I ask you who you are, Justin. That's the stuff I'm after, man. I want to know, not you showing me that the always be show ready, but that when you're not show ready, or as you're getting to be show ready, what is going on internally. And you know and so I'm going to give you one more crack at it. One more crack. When I
Okay.
ask you what's going on, like, what is it that's going on inside, or who is the Justin Gabossi? You don't need to qualify it with anybody else, like anybody else, but just you. Who is it that you would want people to know that you really are? And I know you as a man who's got all the feels, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Um, and I like all of them. I like you when you're sad. I like you when you're happy. I like you when you're the things in between. Um, and I'm feeling for you as you're thousands and thousands of miles away and not able to get hugs and kisses and all the stuff. Uh, so I'm sending that out to you. I'm sending hugs and kisses out to you,
Thanks,
to
bro.
encourage you to say, to maybe lean into and trust that what's going on internally is good enough. You're great. You really are. You're great, just as you are. Um, so tell the audience who you are.
So I got up and put on some Celine Dion.
Beautiful.
And
With any song in particular, by the way?
I think
What's your
it's called
go-to?
Power of Love. So like I do this really cheesy thing when I am in the romantic feels. I listen to music that would be representative of the kind of relationship that I one day hope to have.
Awesome.
So, so then this song, so then of course this playlist, Spotify is wonderful. So the next thing is like some Phil Collins romantic tune, and so then I wake up, I throw on the headphones, I start going through my morning, and I'm trying to lean into less rigidity, like you're saying. I mean, the fact that I feel like this podcast is a counseling session for me, but I this whole trip is me trying to find that space and lean into that. So I start off the morning doing that, and then I went and had some food, and I'm definitely, I'm trying to just be in the moment instead, and in the feels, instead of like pushing them away so hard. I mean, for crying out loud, I already got teary eyed on the podcast here. You know what I mean? So it's the old me would not have let that happen.
Mm.
I mean, I'm just like anyone and everybody else, man. I guess I see a lot of hurt in the world, and I see a lot of distress, and it makes me want to try my best to be the person that's the stabilizer. And I don't always leave space to be the stabilized.
Mm.
So as long as I keep my act together, I can be there in the capacity that I want to be there for others. But that again, that's what I'm trying to embrace, is leaning into allowing others to hold me up as well. But that's hard when you're, like you said, 1,000 miles away from everybody that that could do that for you, in a 12-hour time difference. But we're working it out.
Well, it wasn't meant to go this way, but why not? This is good podcast stuff. It is true about the life, the oxygen mask.
Mm.
As much as you want to help others around you, it starts by helping yourself. You have to come from a place of having done that thing. You'll help people by actually showing them how you've helped yourself, and that's not picking yourself up from the bootstraps and doing it the old cowboy way and muscling through, kind of thing. Sometimes it's getting down into the dirt, scratching and crawling, and you got the dirt underneath your fingernails, and you get the sweat and the tears from the sheer pain and suffering that you entered into in yourself, and you've done that work, and there's no telling how long that work can take. You can't put a timeline on it. You just have to do the work until finally one day you wake up and you say, I feel different. I feel better. I feel a little like joy. Or is that I feel some satisfaction? I just feel different. I don't feel that same thing I felt. And then, and only then, can you be that light to the rest of the world. And so I just want to encourage you, Justin. Um, it's okay if they're strangers or you don't know them, but to show your true, vulnerable, real self, where you're at today. Um, and you can start from the origins and say, I'm feeling today the same pain that I felt 40 years ago when I was a little kid. If that's where it started, and you work through it, and dare to be vulnerable, and dare to, just be vulnerable. I'll share one last share. Our friend Ben Livingston, he and I.
Mm-hmm.
So for those who don't know, Ben Livingston lives here in Austin, Texas. He's one of my dearest, dearest, dearest friends. He and I got together and took a long walk and talk yesterday. And at the end of it, I was telling him, I was surmising, I was saying, here's me at 60 years old. I turned 60 last week. And I was talked about this men's group that I put together. And I started to cry because I was thinking about Ben and how Ben was one of the people that I thought of when I was putting together this men's group. Because when I get together with Ben, I always leave feeling smarter, like I've grown, and he's made me better. And I've known Ben about 10 years. And as I was talking to Ben, I started to get sad because he helped me get here. I'm really happy. I am so content. I am so complete at this day in my life. But it took people to help me get there. And as I was reflecting on it, what got to me was um, that kindness makes me cry.
Mm-hmm.
I get and I love it. That's why I watch Ted Lasso and I watch Shrinking, because kindness expressed makes me cry when I see it in real time in real life. And so that is what you can experience. Allowing yourself to be vulnerable and letting somebody be kind back to you. Let somebody hear you and see you and experience kindness. Know that that's what the world is out there, and that sometimes a kind gesture is receiving kindness. And that's how you can serve the world. That's how you can help somebody. There's nothing better in life than when somebody gets to serve somebody. When you get to serve somebody and help somebody, you give that privilege to somebody else and let them serve you at this time in your life. You happen to be sad, and that's okay. That's what you can tell the world. It's okay to be sad. It's okay to be lonely. It's okay to be afraid. Let people in on that. Let them serve you, and that's how you get there. So,
I love what you just said, Mark. I've always thought of giving and receiving are two sides of the same coin. And if you don't receive, how are you ever going to be able to give, right? Like, and if you don't give, how will you ever be able to receive? And I think someone told me a long time ago that it was exhausting to be around me. And they thought that because I had the tools and because I had all of the things that I was doing well and I was a good communicator and, all these things, they felt like there was this thread of expectation for performance in them and that they had to be the very, very best version of them when they were around me. And honestly, it hurt because that was like the absolute opposite of what I was trying to convey. And it made me take pause, and I was like, wow, if I gotten so wrapped up in doing the work that I forgot about the journey it took to get there. And it's, one of the reasons I chose when I was writing my book was to take my journal entries and put them in as they were written during the time so that I could go back to the emotional moment and be there. It's so easy to look back on our lives and be like, well, that's how I solved that problem. Awesome. And we forget what it was like to actually be in that moment and to wrestle with it and to be in the muck and the mire with it. And people don't want, really, I've learned, and I'm still learning in many ways, they don't want to know how it's going to get better. They just want somebody to walk with them while it's not better.
Yeah.
To remember what it's like so that that's the humanity. Our vulnerability is what connects us. And every time you've shared a story of connection, what I've heard was someone risked something. They were vulnerable and they were willing to receive every time from somebody, like that. There was some reciprocity there of giving and receiving.
Yeah.
So I love these stories. I appreciate you so much sharing them because I think everybody can go there somewhere in their mind and remember a time and really relate to it, whether they're in Thailand or in another country or they're in a crowded room that feels lonely.
Yeah.
I didn't realize it when I made the decision to do this, but I forced myself into exactly what Mark is talking about, and it's been quite an uncomfortable thing to just lean into it and not try to control situations and outcomes and just allow people to be kind. And it's new, for me. And it's amazing. And it's making me grow in ways I had no idea this was going to happen. So Very, very happy about it.
Yeah. As we're going to wrap up with I want to give you a chance to share something, Justin, for the audience and perhaps for yourself. And I'm going to form the question in a way that allows you to continue to be vulnerable in this moment and for the rest of the day. Okay. I used to lead a chemical recovery group, and it was a kind of a version of kind of a 12-step program, right? And we would get down into it. It would get rough, and things would be said that could be very challenging, and in the same way that things today could have made you feel, right? And the question at the end would be, how does that make you feel? Mad, sad, glad, afraid, or embarrassed? So,
Okay.
and it's okay to feel any one of those. The question was it was loaded because it could be, yeah, I'm freaking furious at you for how dare you talk to me that way, whatever. It's like, okay, that's good, that's great, thank you. And now what are you going to do with that, right? But how are you feeling? How does this episode, how did this time with us make you feel? And being, all the people listening to Big Ideas podcast, because there's lots of them, folks, out there. There's thousands and hundreds of thousands of people listening to us, or at least we hope so. How do you feel? Are you mad, sad, glad, afraid, or embarrassed? And what's next? What are you going to do with it today?
I feel awkward as hell.
That wasn't one of them. Mad, glad, sad.
I know, but I'm not really. I just feel like I feel like we've been talking for 52 minutes and it's flown by, and I'm asking myself, what did I just divulge to the world about myself? So this vulnerable, huh?
Are you embarrassed? Do you feel embarrassed?
I don't know until I listen back.
Okay.
I don't know. Actually, the way I feel is this is a step in the direction that of growth that I want to go. So so actually, the way I feel is awkward and grateful to you guys for pushing me out of my comfort zone even more to help me continue to grow as the person that I hope to become. So yeah, I'm highly uncomfortable right now.
We have a saying in our house: when you're vulnerable, Josh and I just had a situation this couple weeks ago, and I felt great in the moment. It wasn't between us. It was a situation that we were dealing with. And in the moment I felt great. I was like, yes, we really confronted this. We were open. We were honest. Like, we really dove into it. The next day I felt like I wanted to crawl under a rock, and we call it the vulnerability hangover. It's the moments that come after, because you lean into it and it feels good and you're having a great time. You're so fully expressed and you were vibing. And then afterwards, you're like, what just happened? And I just want to invite you to remember that if you are having feelings afterwards or when you're going through this, hey, just experiencing a vulnerability hangover. It's all good. I'm going to drink some water. I'm going to stay with the facts of how, who I am, and remind myself of who I am. And I'm going to move through it, because being vulnerable is awkward, but it's the only way forward to own the truth of the moment and decide and make a choice that aligns with who you are, not who the world tells you should be, and you're wrestling with it. And I mean, it's so grateful to be on the journey of watching you unfold and unpack all of this and getting to share these tips with us, because most people are just really enjoying their comfort zone. So kudos to you for getting out there and challenging yourself.
Yeah.
Thank you.
And I'll say the Justin Gabossi I know is so worth knowing, because he too is one of the people that I've known for 15 years, and I've seen all the emotions and all the stuff, and I've loved every minute of it. And I've never been embarrassed by, or ashamed of any conversation we've ever had, and we've had some of the best, and it's made all the difference in the world.
Yeah.
So I hope that this conversation has reached you, the audience. It's touched me, and I'm really glad I get to do this with you guys. Thank you. Thank you for listening to Big Ideas, a podcast about people, perspective, and the ideas that shape who we're becoming. If this episode sparks something for you, stay curious. We'll see you next time.
Thank you, brother.
Bye.
Thank you, Jessica.
Love you guys.
I love
Love
you.
you.